Hi guys.
Hey everyone.
So today we're going to talk about trauma bonding. We're thinking about, just life history, things that we've been through, the effects that we have when we are in a relationship and what it actually does to you. Because myself, I'm experiencing it now. So as it relates to trauma bond, what I'm referring to is like, for example, you're in a relationship, you're married, you separate, or you have a boyfriend, you separate, you can't seem to get that person out of your system. And it's considered, well, I'm feeling like it's trauma bond. Because even if the situation was a bad situation, you know that you guys may be toxic together, or you've had situations maybe as growing up, then you feel like that's a normal area for you to be. You feel comfortable being in that place. So even though you may feel like, oh, okay, this is not right for me, I feel like I can't deal with this relationship. I can't be here where things are not working out. It's toxic, but then yet something in your spirit feels like I need to be with that person. I need to be in that atmosphere, or I feel safe in that atmosphere. But in reality, you really are not safe. So that's what we're talking about today. I know a lot of people have lived their lives and may experience this, can relate to it. So we want to kind of touch on that and see what you guys think. What things you've dealt with, and maybe what you would like to express, and allow us to share some of the things that we deal with.
Right, and we were also talking about, right, well, I know when you started sharing with me, I was saying something that I really didn't know about. Personally, I don't know the term or the definition per se, but when I was listening to you explain a little bit about it, I immediately connected it to even personal situations. Just being, maybe in the midst of anger, going back to, or wanting to go back and pick up on patterns that I decided to stop, or just behaviors, learn behaviors that I may have done before. For example, the way I would handle a conflict. Maybe back in the day, Becky was ready to pop off, because that was just the way that I knew how to handle conflict. But now, I'm not, I don't think the same way. I've been through experiences that have allowed me to grow, mature. So that's not the way that I want to handle conflict. I want to handle conflict in a mature way, because guess what? We live in a world where we deal with people every single day. The reality is that where I want to go in life, dealing with conflict and aggression and fighting and all these things is not going to take me forward. I'm actually going to go steps back. So I was able to kind of understand what you were talking about with something similar. Maybe it's not exactly the same thing, because I don't know the definition per se, but I feel like it reminded me of something like that, because it's a way that felt comfortable. It was what was natural to me. This is the way that I used to handle things, and this is the way I want to handle them now. But it's not good for me, because it's not going to get me to places that I want to be if this is the way that I handle conflict, whether it is conflict or even just having a moment of, maybe I'm sad about something. Maybe something happened in my life, and when I was sad before, the way that I would cope with these things would be maybe utilizing drugs, or maybe drinking excessively, or just putting myself in situations that weren't helping me, at that moment.
It's like putting a band-aid. You're putting a band-aid on it for the moment.
Right.
It's going to take you into a place where you feel that, oh, this is going to make me feel better. But in reality, after it's done, you're not going to feel better. You're going to maybe feel worse, and it's just a temporary fix.
Right.
So the key is like recognizing what's the trigger, recognizing what areas that you need to fix and heal, and grow in that area, and then trying and then working as hard as you can to not repeat those cycles, so that you take a different, instead of turning to a drug or turning to alcohol, maybe you go read a book, or you go exercise, or do something else that's going to take your mind away from the temptation of going back into an old habit or old cycle. And that's how we begin to break certain cycles, because then when you start to recognize that, you recognize, oh shoot, I'm acting this way, but I'm seeing that because I'm being triggered this way, or I'm having a rough day, or I'm being, if I'm arguing with someone and it makes me go pick up a drink, because I've been there. I'm like, you're getting on my nerves, you're saying certain things to me, and then I find myself raising my voice, but in reality, I don't want to be that person anymore.
Right.
I'm trying to grow and go into a different area. So if I feel like, if I'm being taken to a place that I'm seeing that I'm like getting set back a few years, it's like, okay, wait a second, Tiffany, you gotta chill out, because you don't want to be that person anymore. And the key is to grow. We're trying to grow in Christ. So if you're getting placed in a position to where you're feeling like this is taking you back to the I'm gonna punch you in your face and
bring the thug out
and
bring the thug Tiffany
right
out.
You get in the thug, and I'm yelling, I'm screaming, and I'm
like, I don't want to be a thug no more.
I don't want to be that. I don't want that life anymore. You break, and it's not nothing. And you know what? And it's not nothing against the person.
We're not thugs, by the way.
It's nothing against the person that may have got you to that place or the situation, because we are responsible for our actions. So no matter what a person can say to you or what you're dealing with, we are in control. Like you said, we are in control of our own actions. So we have the power to say, okay, this is a trigger. Let me take a breather. Let me
reanalyze the situation.
Exactly. Let me reanalyze this whole thing. And let me not talk to you for a little bit, or let me walk away so that I can collect myself, so that I'm not responding in a way that I don't want to respond, or I'm trying to grow from. And then sometimes I might need to take a step back away from you, period, and not talk to you for a little bit, so I can get me right.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
But
no, as we were talking, I was thinking about that. Initially what we started talking about was about the trauma bonding, and being bonded to certain people, or going back to people. But I kind of want to go back to that, because that's what you initially started talking about.
Right.
And as you were saying, it's kind of the same thing. Maybe you're not looking to cope with a drug, or alcohol, or whatever. But you can be wanting to go back to this person, even though you know that the situation was difficult, but because it's what you know.
Right.
It's what you're used to. It's what you're able to control. And I know for me, that's the hardest thing, to not have control about a situation. And I'm learning, I've been learning for a while now, that, we don't necessarily have to be in control of everything, When we're not in control, it can be a little difficult, because and I think especially for women, if any of you ladies can relate, but I know for women this might be a lot more difficult, because we like to plan ahead.
Right.
Like, I want to know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I like to, and then it's like, don't switch it up for me last minute.
You want to be prepared.
Right.
Like, you don't want things just last minute. Like, you need to, okay, what am I doing? Are we going to do this, or you saying you're going to do this, so do it.
Let's have everything organized.
Let's have everything.
You do. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. Everybody has a role to play.
Right.
Then when things switch up, it's like, wait, you flipped the script on me. Hold up, So, but sometimes those things have to happen in order for us to find ourselves where we're at now, where we're now, analyzing and, things in our life that we kind of, like you said, brushed up, put a Band-Aid on, didn't deal with it because it's uncomfortable. I don't want to take that off. I don't want to have to lift that rug up and see everything that I've kind of tucked in there to try to forget about. But, they have to be dealt with. Because if not, we're going to find ourselves in the same place, and not reach the places that we are called to reach, because we don't want to do the dirty work, which is
Peel back the layers.
peel back. I think that's better. Peel back the layers.
Peel them back.
Not even dig through you. It's like peel it, because they're just
There's
stacked
a whole
up.
bunch. And then you want to put a band-aid and let me wipe it up. Let me put some makeup here. Let me cover myself up. Let me put this face on to act like I'm okay. But in reality, your heart is still not in the right. Like I posted it the other day. Check your posture. Check your heart. Look at your heart.
Wow.
And we often have to look at our heart. We have to, because God is looking at our heart. And then when he starts to reveal certain things within ourselves, because that's what's happening, he begins to reveal, and you get to see, wait a second. Hold up. That's me. Or you see yourself in other people. Wait, that's me. Or when you share certain things with other people that you meet, or you find yourself speaking to someone else and you're saying, wow, I can relate because I've been there. I've dealt with that. So then God begins to deal with you inside and start to peel back those layers and say, yeah, I'm checking you on this because I need you to fix that. And that's when we begin to grow. And that's when we begin to be able to help others. And that's when we begin to get in our role of leading. And then when you begin to start creating videos.
and seeing,
Yeah.
and seeing what God really wants to do
Right.
with you and through you. I can imagine anybody listening right now, thinks about all the things that they would love to do. But, the reality is that these things don't come easy. It takes work. It takes discipline, self-discipline to really be, and also it takes you being transparent with yourself.
Right.
And brutally checking yourself sometimes, and being 100% honest with yourself, which I know all these things are the same.
Yeah.
I'm just adding.
Just in case you didn't know, there are the synonyms for them, so you get it one way or another.
But they're necessary.
Yeah.
These being uncomfortable like this and being checked like this is necessary in order to grow. You said, seeing somebody act a certain way. I could think about seeing somebody act a specific way, and you saying like, damn, that's how I look.
Or even our children. Think about it. Our children. And this goes back to when you speak about like the trauma of bonding and things like that, and going back to what you know. Even as children growing up, seeing drama in the home or seeing fighting all the time in the home, you think that that's normal.
Right.
So if you see your mom fighting in a relationship all the time, or you see your father fighting in a relationship back and forth, you think that's normal. So you think you're going to be, we're going to argument, or I'm in my marriage, or I'm in a relationship with a boy, guy, wife, whatever, husband,
even
boyfriend, girlfriend, friends, whatever.
Yeah.
We fight, somebody gets slapped around or whatever, or curse each other out. You think it's normal because you've seen it growing up.
That's the way you handle it.
So you feel comfortable in a situation that's kind of traumatic, but because it's known to you, you're like, oh, well, this is just regular. This is just normal. It happens. They'll make up later. But in reality, it's not.
Right. No.
It's not. And our children, they see that. We talked about learned behavior.
Learned behaviors, yeah.
It's learned behavior. So that trauma that you experience, all those things you experience, you go back into it because you think it's comfortable. And it's not. So like when you see your children acting up and they're acting fool, oh shoot, that's exactly how I act. Where do you think your child got it from?
You.
Yeah.
Or daddy.
Or daddy. Yeah.
Or grandma if they was raised with grandma.
Yep.
That's so true. I remember, I think we were talking about when we were talking about the learned behaviors. I kind of always like using this example in regards to health-wise. A lot of diseases that we may have, not we, but that people may have. If you notice in the hospital, when you go to the doctor or something, they'll ask you, what runs in your family, or they'll like give you like a document to fill out. And kind of check off what runs in your family. But not all these things are diseases or sicknesses that just because a family member has it means that you're gonna have it.
Right.
it tends to run, and I do this because it tends to run in the family, because if I ate the way my mother ate, then that means my mother ate the way her mother ate. So we tend to deal with certain illnesses because they're eating patterns that we learned. Again, learned behaviors.
Right.
This is the way that I grew up eating. So
pattern.
now I'm dealing with certain illnesses that I didn't really have to deal with if I adjusted, my eating habits. But I would have never known that until you begin to understand how this works. When you act a certain, why do we act the way we do? Why do we think the way we do? Why do we do the things we do? But when we always go down the trail to find out, you find out that this leads back to your childhood, and that's where the layers are at. Those are the layers that we got to go peel to find out, so that we can adjust these things, and hopefully teach these things to our kids, so they're not repeating the same patterns, and then have to wait till they're older and then figure out, oh wait, this is not working out for me. What's going on?
Right. Right. So yeah.
Yeah. You kind
So
of
then it's so it's kind of like, what I've been doing lately, because I've been finding myself a little off track. So I'm like, okay, God, reveal to me the areas that I need to work on. Help me to be more like you, creating me a clean heart, one acceptable to you, so that I may walk in the way that you need me to be walking here on this earth, because we ain't getting no younger. So we've all been placed here to be for a purpose. So it's time to walk in that purpose. So once you start to recognize those things, you have to continue to ask God to reveal it to you and help you to heal in those places and grow, so we can move forward.
And I would say once you start realizing these things, be stern with yourself. Don't sugarcoat it. That ain't gonna help you. Be stern with yourself, and if these are changes that you wanna have. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then that sometimes is a good place to be at, because you're gonna be at a place where you're now forced to want to make a change, because you're tired. You're tired of being in the situation that you're in. You're tired of feeling the way you do. But guess what? The only one that could change that is you. Nobody else can come and change it. So once you start analyzing and identifying those things that you understand need to be worked on, be disciplined with yourself. And it's an everyday process. The reality is that these are years of learned behaviors. And it's not something that you can expect to change from one day to another. But being strict with yourself and going one day at a time, you will be able to see changes. And when you allow God to guide you, and when you allow Him to bring it up to you and correct you, and take the correction, because I don't know, for me, I personally don't like correction.
Be stubborn.
No, don't be coming and try to correct me now.
I'll be so stubborn. God be telling
No, I do.
God be like, don't do that, Tiffany. And I'm like, but I want to. And
Yeah.
you do it anyway. And you be like, oh, but why am I hurting?
Yeah,
But I told you not to do it. So
now I want correction.
Right.
Because it's like, I feel like I kind of see it as this is the secret weapon. Correction. When you accept correction, you're gonna go places.
Right.
That's all it takes. It's just uncomfortable, and nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be told how to do things. But I realized that's the secret weapon. That's the secret. If you are able to receive correction, you're gonna grow. You're gonna make it to places that you never imagined. You're gonna be able to accomplish things. You're gonna look at yourself, and you're not even gonna recognize yourself.
Right.
Because you've allowed someone to pour wisdom into you. So
Yeah. So, to be continued.
Yeah, we just wanted to jump on here. We were having this conversation earlier. We kept talking about it, And then we're like, we need to start recording. And then we got busy at work. And then we were just like, let's jump on now.
Recording.
So we just wanted to share that with you guys, share our thoughts. Like we said in the beginning, you know, these are just back and tip conversations that we just have with each other. And we uplift each other and we correct each other, you know, and we're just there for one another. And it's helped. It's really helped us really go further.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. Not all the way, but we're getting there.
We're a work in progress.
So,
Be patient.
yeah. Just take it little by little, and hopefully you guys can continue in this journey with us. And I don't know, maybe in a year we'll be
Who knows?
sharing different things, you know, maybe not, you know, having different opinions about certain things because of the growth. But yeah, I think that's
So remember,
that's it.
you're worthy. You're a king. You're a queen. You're loved. You're acceptable. And we love you.
We love you. Bye everyone.